Welcome to our house plant episode. Watch along as we scratch down to solid rock and then import fill to build the foundations for our new build. No, you never touch it. Big Bessies require...
Because it's a new machine, or we got a dud, or XCMG in general, or just pass, or what? I don't think I'd buy one. Not that I would have anyway before this done. Would not now.
But now we're ready to go again. My voice is nothing when I scream without fire. I stretch my hand when I cry. Just back up and go back out that way. Go back out that side.
I want this circle by myself. I do it, try that I have. My voice is nothing when I scream without fire. I stretch my hand.
I wasn't really watching the tracks. Didn't really come up enough to see it hang like that. What's that tool?
This?
Yeah.
Just my grease gun.
And putting grease makes it tighten.
Yeah, it's just how it works.
That is so weird.
Well, it's like, there's a little cylinder that this wheel slides in and back and forth, and it's got, you imagine like it's got a tube like this, and if that tube's got no grease in it, then that wheel comes this way, because it's got like, that wheel is attached to like a little plunger.
Oh, so it's not putting tension
Does that
outwards.
make sense?
Yeah.
So there's a little plunger that went in here, and it's attached to that wheel by like a clamp thingy, and it comes into the plunger. If you've got nothing in there, then the wheel comes this way, and then you pump stuff in there, it makes the plunger push out that way.
Yeah, so it needs like the tension from the grease. Interesting. At this point, we have scratched down to solid rock and we're just rolling the ground, getting it ready for compaction and to import fill.
So this line, well, so the laser's set in there, and I put it down on the concrete, and I moved the receiver until it beeped and said it was good, which is that line there. And then the house slab is 200mm lower than the shed. I know we're moving up the stick, but if you imagine if this was sitting on the ground here, and then I move this up, now the bottom of the stick gets lower, which is bottom of the top of slab. Does that make sense? Did I explain that right? If I was sitting this here and I said that was level with the receiver, and then I wanted something to be lower than it, like I sit this on something and I want something else over there to be lower than this bit here, and my receiver is here, I need to slide the receiver up so then this goes down. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you mark up the stick to then get a lower measurement. So that's why we're going up. But anyway, so that receiver, so if I put the receiver to this line, that's the level of the shed. That's the level of the house slab for the main area. That there is the garage step down, because you have to have a 90mm step down here in Australia. And then 360mm below that is where the main fill is too. And then again, I've got that 90mm down for the garage fill, because you want less fill where that garage pad is.
And you got these measurements off the engineering plan
So to go from...
with the slope of this hill.
To go from the fill to where the top of your... Sorry, go from... Yeah, to go from the fill to where your slab is going to be, you need to look at your engineering. So our setup is a 225mm pod and 85mm of concrete on top of the pod, and then 50mm of crusher dust. So that's how I got to my 360.
Still don't fully understand, but
I can show you a cross section of the slab, and then you'd understand. So the slab is in total 225 plus 85, 310. The whole, like the formwork that we're going to put up is 310, but in that formwork there's like a foam filler thing that you use called a pod, and it's just like these white square things.
Yeah, I've seen them.
So you don't fill as much concrete, so it becomes cheaper. Those pods are 225mm tall, and then above that there's like a layer over the whole slab that's 85mm thick, and then every so often between the pods there's like nothing, so then you get like these big concrete beams essentially that go the full 310. Anyway, so main fill is somewhere up here, which we already set earlier. It's close to up there, that batter, well that's going to be our batter.
And that's telling us that the bottom of the stick is where the main fill needs to come to.
Yeah, in amber terms. So now I need to move. We're already halfway up the stick, so we're actually, to mark out our 300 above this. So to start filling this, I need to get that something long enough to be down there and the receiver catch it, which is, as you can see, it's up there somewhere. So I'm gonna have to go get my 2 meter level and mark yeah, that point, and then also set my receiver there and then put a mark 300 down on the stick. So I'm going to put 300mm worth of dirt into this corner, and then essentially we're going to put the dirt in level. So imagine this is 300mm here and that's level, so wherever that line then gets to for 300mm, that's where we sort of stop filling, and then we compact it and roll it, and then we can put another 300mm, and that might be up here, say, roughly, and then level, and you imagine draw a straight line with that level across until it hits somewhere up there, which is up the hill. Then we compact and squish all that down, and then we go again and again until we get all the way up here, because
Oh my gosh. It's so weird to think that we are currently in what's going to be rock. Lots of compacted rock. Should I bury a little treasure?
We've got to go. I don't know if my eye chrometer is real flashing, but about 1300. So we're going to fill and compact at least 4 times. We'll aim for 5 to be minimum.
Yeehaw! Righto, let's go. It's starting to rain.
But we've still got. I've got to go get this other stick and then remark. This is our shed height, right? And then this is going to be the house. And I want it to be 200mm lower. It was different, but after I'd done my set out, I decided 200 was the number that works for our batters and boundaries and all that sort of stuff. So if I want to be the house to be 200 mil lower, I need to find where the shed is, and then I need to mark that 200 mil difference, and then you work down your 360, and then you get fill. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because the gap
So you
between
got-
360 and 200
So you
is
got
the
that
concrete.
minus 200, minus 200, so 560 is the difference from the fill, which we're doing tomorrow, to the inside of the shed.
I thought we were going to be level with the shed.
We were going to be level with the shed, and then we were going to end up being out of the ground by 1200 mil on that far corner, and we're only 10 metres off the fence, and I thought landscaping 1200 mil to nothing over 10 metres and trying to end up with some sort of level ground near the fence was just too much to ask and too much soil to bring.
Right, okay.
So I've
Gone down a little
and
bit.
our drawings actually say that the house is going to be 300 mil lower than the shed, and I haven't quite gone that low because I set the height. I got the height of it in here, and I transferred it out to here to where the front of our garage is going to be. Obviously this is all falling this way at the moment, and I was just worried that, let's just say our house, exaggerated, was all the way down here, and you've got all this water that then runs down and it's going to be against the house. So level is actually somewhere up here. 200 mil is somewhere down here, which means the house is actually somewhere back here, so it's, you know, probably somewhere here, and there'll be a bit of a V back to there, and we'll have a spoon drain between the house and where the cars park, and we'll be able to have a box drain thingy, a pit, sorry, because this will all get concreted or something probably eventually. That's the plan. But I just didn't want all the water falling this way. I couldn't have it level, which would have been the best because of the fall over that way, and I didn't want to go 300 down because of this reason, and also over in that far corner at the front there, it meant slab was only about this much above grass, and there's a slight slope on that hill, on that patch of grass there that falls it towards the house. So I've just gone up an extra 100 so that I can try and put a bit of dirt around the house to help water fall away from the house. This is the only spot here at the front, sort of where the digger is, that the water's going to be anywhere near the house. Everywhere else, the water's going to fall away from the house well and truly, which is sort of like how our shed is, and it's, in my opinion, the best way to be. So then, yeah.
Don't get problems.
Don't get any water coming towards your house. You don't have to do pits in your house. Pits are a good thing, but they don't work when they're just in the middle of the grass or in the middle of a gravel driveway. They're not that great because they get full of silt. You have to clean them, and if you don't clean them, then they clog your pipes, and they just so often get done wrong and then have to redo it. So people go for a cut and fill on their site, so then they don't have to do these big batters like what we're doing here and build up as much soil with rollers and all that sort of jazz. But then you get water coming
pick your battles.
coming in towards the house. So, I don't know. It's not really what I want.
Right,
I
let's go.
didn't explain that right.
No.
200 plus 360, 560. Going up this way, which is where the receiver will move to. 560. 200, double checking. That's fill. Main fill. Now you'll see here, I've got that currently there at the moment. That's shed, and this is on ground. So as I slide this up here now, that point is now obviously a lot lower. So to get that to talk to this, it has to be in the same plane, which means the end of that is going to be a lot lower. Does that now make sense?
Yes.
It does?
Yes, it does.
100%
Because
makes
this
sense.
laser,
That laser,
the reason why that's
spins.
shed is because this sits up off the
So
ground.
this laser spits completely level. It spits a flat line, and when the receiver is on this line, it means that that is hitting this when this is on the ground. So now if I want to put this on the ground out there and mark where my fill is, which is that 560 mil lower than this point, I need that to go down, and it can't go down on this. Up. Now if I was going to go out there to mark that, that would be my fill at the very top. Up. If we go out there again and put this down in the very lowest point and then get a line and then go 300 mil increments or close as we can, divide it up until we get to that point, then we'll have our set marks of where to go when we're doing our fill.
So just dropped the kids off and we're going to crack into doing the fill today, and the truck should be arriving soon. The weather is looking quite scary. So it's gonna get a bit wet, I think. Wish me luck.
two-ton. We're up to a lot.
800.
850 apparently. I thought we were only going to be 500 to start with, and then when I re-put it through ChatGPT, which calculates the area, well, I put in the area and then I put in the depth of the fill in each corner and said, if I'm putting in this type of fill, rolling it, how much tonnage am I going to put in? And it said 700. We've still got to go up another 600 mil in that bottom corner, 400 in that corner, 200 here, 300 or 400 there. So
Double still.
I feel like we're over halfway, but I don't know how much over halfway we are. And according to online sources, I can't get away really with just using clay all the way to the top now, because clay doesn't like sitting there for months on end. So I can use clay for the back three corners for, yay much. And then I need to do another 200 or 300 of going back to this overburden, because it handles the rain and stuff better. It won't. You'll compact it and it'll stay compacted. Is the gist. Is what I've heard. It's all a bit of a head fuck. This has been a big learning experience.
Sure
but
has.
$330 for one load opposed to $510 per load, 32 tonne, right, is one lot there. So there's $200 difference on 32 tonne there. and we've got 850 so far divided by that. So even right now, 26 times 200 is what we could have saved. That's $5,000. So if I had have just paid a digger driver and he sourced the fill himself and he got it much cheaper, which is the likely scenario if you get the right digger driver, he would have just paid for his labour for free, just by buying the right material. And that makes me feel sick. I hate not getting a good deal. And this is just going to cost me an absolute freaking fortune.
So there are some things that you just don't do by yourself, is what we've learned.
Well, everyone knows that. A lot of people will say that. But I thought by doing this, we'd be saving money. And that's why a lot of people have a go at doing things, because they think they're going to save the money. And yeah, we would save the money in terms of me operating the digger and Amber operating the roller. But unless you get everything nailed down and get it the cheapest you can, and you don't know that you got it the cheapest you can, because I thought that I was getting the cheapest possible fill.
You only know what you know.
And then I was looking for an extra truck driver, and then this extra truck driver said, I've got this other stuff and I'll give it for this price delivered, and then you do the math on it and work it backwards, because obviously that guy's saying I'll give you 32 tonne for a set price delivered, and then the other stuff that we're buying we're paying per tonne and then paying a truck driver separately, which is just a pain in the ass, and then to work it backwards, and then that's how I've got the difference there, and it's a big bloody difference. But when you're just on the phone to people and they're saying these prices, it can be hard to compare apples to apples, because people are talking in different ways how they package it together, and you need to really sit down and look at it to figure out what works out cheaper. And a lot of people don't spend the fucking time to do that, and that's how jobs blow out.
And what did you put on our estimate for the house pad?
10 grand. And we're gonna be double that, at least. And we've done it ourselves. And I could have gone to work this week, or tried to find some work this week, and earn anywhere from 2 to 5 grand, depending on how good of a week it was.
And 8 grand that we're up to now is just the fill, or it's the hire as well?
No. We're up to 850 tonne, which is probably over 10 grand. And that's just the fill though.
Yeah, right.
850 tonne times $13.20. We're up to $11,000 in material. We're probably done $1,000 in diesel. I've probably spent $1,000 in transport to get the machinery here and get it back. I'm gonna spend Monday, Tuesday, what's today, Wednesday?
Yeah.
Probably Thursday, possibly Friday, call it, for that bloody roller, so there's another $1,500.
Oh, you need to put back these.
This is just where we're at right now, plus we still need more fuel, 15 grand. We still need another, couple hundred tonne of fuel. And then you still got to do, on top of that, before you then do your slab, you got to put down either crusher dust, or what my research is telling me is that if you want your house to be really solid and make sure it doesn't want to settle, because we've got so much spill here, you really want to do at least 100mm layer of 20mm aggregate and then drum roll it. So that alone is probably going to cost me, I don't know, a drum roller to get it here and back, and a day's hire is going to be at least 1,000, and then it will be, I would say, a couple grand in material, because we've got like a 500 square metre area times a 0.1 layer. So we need 50 cubic metres, and we're probably going to pay $30 at least a ton for that. Yeah, so it's going to cost like 2.5, 3 grand just on that, plus the time to do it, just to do that little top skin layer. So we could be, by the time we're ready to start doing footings and doing the plumbing, which is all extra stuff again, we're going to be at like 25 grand. Well, it's been a few weeks since we've done our earthworks, maybe even, probably been 2 months, Ada?
Yeah, wow.
Probably, it's been a while, as you can see. We've got frames up, the concreting's done. We'll do another video on where we are, costs up to date, but wrapping up the video from way back that we started for the earthworks and fill, we came in a lot more than what I had anticipated, I think, because we didn't do a cut and fill. We basically went from, this is the highest point here, and then just leveled from there. We ended up importing 1,500 tonne of dirt, and I got that from a quarry. Tried to get the best deal I could. The quarry's pretty close to us, so it just seemed to work out better to just pay for more expensive fill, but then save on cartage, because I didn't have to pay someone to bring it from ages away. And I knew it was going to be good, consistent material for putting under the house. It's really rocky. On the compaction test, it went pretty good. And in terms of like site classification, it scored pretty well. I think it was an M, which is an M or an S.
It was an S, wasn't it? S and a P.
Yeah, well, yeah, whatever. It was the least reactive soil type you can have, because it's basically just rock. Anyway, so we had a truck on wet hire, and we had a roller on dry hire. That ended up costing us over a few days, 5,200. The dirt from the quarry ended up being pretty much bang on $20,000. I had allowed 10 grand for everything for earthworks, which was, yeah, so way over. It was another 2 grand for, I had a second truck come for 1 day. And give us a hand for bringing in a little bit of dirt and just wet hire for truck. We got my father-in-law's digger. That didn't cost us anything. I think it cost me maybe $600 for floatage to get it from where it was to here and then out to the farm. And then maybe, I don't know, $1,000 in diesel. And that's pretty much it for our fill costs, I think.
And how long did it take? The whole process?
I started scratching it, I think, on the Friday afternoon, and it took me most of the weekend to like scratch all the grass off, get it down to like rock, and then build the batter on the 2 sides where it got like, where we were basically in a big hole. And then I think we were Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday until we got up to where we needed. And then I think we spent the Friday morning trimming it and getting the laser out to try and get everything within 50 mils, so then we could actually start doing piers and getting prepped for the slab. So basically a week with an 8-ton machine. Would have been really nice to have a 15-ton machine, I think, because the pad ended up being probably 30 meters wide by 30 meters wide, and the roller that we had was a little bit on the small side too, to be honest. We ended up going the quarry fill, which I think is just what they call overburden, so you get some pretty big stuff. We filled that for the pretty much all the way up until the last 200 mil, and the quarry told us to swap to some stuff called 100 minus, which has been processed in the quarry through like a crusher, and everything comes out 100 mil or smaller, I believe. I think it's a crusher, or it might be a sorter, I don't know. But the stuff that you get is 100 mil rock or smaller, and we did that for like the last lift, which was like say 200 mil layer around the whole thing. And it doesn't have any clay in it pretty much because it's only rock, and it definitely didn't pack down as good with a pad foot roller as what we were hoping. We got 93% compaction for that top little layer, but it was so obvious when we were walking around and as well putting it in, even with wetting it, that it just wasn't sticking together like it would if it had that clay in it. Apparently, if we had have got a smooth drum roller just for that last little bit, it would have made it better and pack in better. But it was, after speaking to our engineer, considering we were doing piers anyway, it was good enough that we got 93. We were aiming for 95. If we weren't doing piers, I think we needed to get, it was either 95 or 100% compaction, which I think we probably would have if we stuck with the overburden, because it had a little bit of clay in it, and it was just so solid underfoot when we were packing it down, and the pad foot wasn't sinking in, it was like sitting up on top, as they say. And I'm pretty sure we had the right method to the madness, so we were vibrating forward and then static rolling back, vice versa, and going half a drum width across as we were coming. Like if we were going this way, go across and then come back and then move across half a drum of the width of the roller, and then keep going until we're all the way across, and then get to that side, turn around and go 90 degrees the other way. So we're probably having to do that 2 laps of that, so basically 4 passes each lift to actually get it with that little roller to break everything up. But it did compact quite well, and we had a little bit of rain on and off throughout that compaction over a couple days. Sorry, throughout the lift over a couple days, so we didn't have to get the hose out a whole lot basically until that last day when we had the 100 minus. And yeah, even with the water, it just didn't compact as well as we were hoping, but still got us good enough to tick the box for the engineer.
Follow along and stay tuned for our next episode, where we go through everything that's occurred between our earthworks and our frame being delivered ready for construction. This includes our profiles and then starting with our concrete.